Hi there. Welcome to Conversations for Yoga Teachers. I am your host, Karen Fabian, and this is episode 329. If you're watching me on YouTube, hi there. If you see me looking down, it's because I have notes. I'll try to just keep the looking down to a minimum. And if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, hello there. Today is December 27th, 2024, and this episode will go live on December 30th, 2024. So that means that this is the last episode of 2024. So here we are at a milestone episode. Not only have I recorded 329 episodes, including this one, but I have recorded every single week of 2024 and then two more. There have been 54 total episodes. There's 52 weeks in a year. I recorded 54 episodes in 2024. So I'm sorry, I just need to give myself a huge pat on the back for being consistent, for sticking with it. And it doesn't even feel like work. This is one aspect of my business, and it is so effortless and fun for me to record these podcast episodes, which is why I do them consistently every single week, which is why people send me emails and they say, "Oh my God, I can't believe you have over 300 episodes. Congratulations." Which is why when I read podcasting reports and they say the average podcaster will record less than 10 episodes, I am so proud of myself that I have shown up here consistently and delivered to you, the yoga teacher, high quality content, and now including even video content, because there's a video version of the episodes on my YouTube channel. So if you have listened to one or more episodes in 2024, I want to acknowledge you for showing up here to the podcast and for opening your ears, for being coachable, for maybe even showing up as a way to challenge the beliefs that you have. So this isn't just all about me, it's also about you. Now, if you're listening to this episode and this is your very first one, hello, and I hope you love it here. And if you're listening to this episode and you've listened to more than 5, more than 8, more than 10, more than 20 episodes, and I certainly know for me, some of my favorite podcasts, the Rich Roll podcast, the Huberman Lab podcast, the Diary of a CEO podcast, the Drive podcast with Dr. Peter Attia, other ones that Mel Robbins' podcast. I know in 2024, I've listened to over 30 podcast episodes for each of the ones I just mentioned. And I've probably listened to every single episode of the Rich Roll podcast, and that will always be hands down my favorite show. So if you are one of my super fans and you've listened to more than 10 episodes, or let's say more than 20, I want to give you a shout out. And I also want to acknowledge you by giving you a free gift. You get, and I'm not even going to ask you for proof, but if you know you've listened to more than 20 shows, send me a DM on Instagram, include the words superfan, and I will give you a free one-on-one coaching call, and we can work on whatever you want, whatever problem you have, whatever result you want to get, whatever plan you want an action plan for, whatever result you want an action plan for, I will create it for you. I will help you. I will answer your questions 100% for free. Okay, so what you're going to walk away with by sticking with today's episode all the way to the end is you are going to walk away with a list of things to try in 2025 so that you can be a more empowered, confident teacher. Now, if you've listened to the last couple of episodes, you know that confidence has been the recurring theme. This theme never goes out of style. Every single yoga teacher I speak to says they want to feel more confident. And in today's episode, we're really going to get down to brass tacks, because your confidence comes not from the number of hours that you train. It comes more from your willingness to experiment with different things in your classes, with different mindsets, instead of listening to the same blah, 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 blah messaging that the majority of yoga teachers continue to perpetuate. And I can say that because I've been teaching for 22 years, and the same stuff that I heard is still being said today. That is 100% complete BS and just stuff that the yoga industry continues to perpetuate. And if it sounds like I'm angry, in a way, I sort of am. It drives me absolutely crazy that yoga teachers continue to get messaging around cueing and sequencing and anatomy and mindset that is completely backwards. And all it does is hold you back from showing up, doing exactly what you want so that you can feel super confident. So if that's me coming across sounding like I'm angry, then so be it. The anger comes from frustration with the industry, and at the same time, wanting to help you be the best yoga teacher possible. And so I'm so passionate about that. That's where you hear the frustration coming from. And that's what propels me in part, but also mainly what propels me is that I absolutely love seeing yoga teachers like you 100% conquer these fears, move past these stories that are out there, move past these beliefs that the yoga industry continues to perpetuate, and instead steps into your true power. That is the kind of thing that keeps me going, because I've seen it over and over and over again when I work with a yoga teacher inside my program. And the joy that I get from seeing that version of a yoga teacher step forward is, oh my God, just completely, my heart just sings. So today, I want to start out, before we get to the list of things to do, things to try in 2025, I want to just recap some of what we covered in 2024. I'm just going to give you sort of the state of affairs, sort of the board report, sort of the year-end annual meeting content, so that you can, especially if you're a new listener, or if you've only listened to a handful of episodes, you can get a sense of what you've missed and then go back and catch some of it. So topics that we covered in 2024, I covered yoga philosophy. I covered setting meaningful goals for you as a yoga teacher. I covered how to create a vision. Not many yoga teachers actually have a vision. They're just teaching classes. If you want to be different and really get the results you want and really feel connected to what you're doing, having a vision is absolutely the way to do it. So I went over that. I covered the idea of growth as a yoga teacher from many different perspectives this year in a handful of episodes. There were a lot of episodes about anatomy, different parts of the anatomy, the rotator cuff, hip anatomy, anatomy themes in your classes, how to share anatomy-based cues. I went at anatomy from a number of different perspectives. I covered confidence. No surprise, I covered confidence a lot in a lot of different ways. Most recently, unveiling my latest offer to you, my monthly membership for just $27 a month, the Yoga Teacher Confidence Club, which gives you access to my live workshops and Q&A sessions, as well as a private video portal where you'll get lessons around cueing, sequencing, and mindset, all for just $27 a month. And you can join right now simply by going to the link in my bio on Instagram or on my website, barebonesyoga.com. So we talked about confidence a lot. I also talked a lot about mindset. I talked about beliefs that yoga teachers have that just aren't serving them, beliefs that yoga teachers have that are thrust upon them by others in the industry, including literally the person that trained them, literally the people whose classes they attend. I talked about how shifting your mindset around certain beliefs can absolutely set you free so that you can teach in a more confident, empowered way. I went over cues a lot in a lot of different ways, anatomy-based cues, action cues, somatic cues, alignment cues, different ways to create cueing frameworks. I talked about my latest ebook, which went live in July, the Bare Bones Yoga Guide to Incredible Yoga Teaching. You can get the ebook totally for free right now by going to my Instagram and clicking the link in my bio. I created an ebook version audio of this ebook by dedicating an entire episode to reading it, so that if you don't want to read it yourself, you can get the audiobook simply by listening to that episode. In that ebook, I shared my secret sauce for cueing and sequencing, how to make it easy, the easy steps to learning anatomy, and the mindset tips that you can take advantage of so you truly feel confident when you're teaching your classes. What else? We talked about neuroscience and how you can leverage the science of brain health so that you can go in and teach incredible classes. You may not have ever thought of it through the lens of neuroscience, but there's so much there that we can leverage. As a result of my study of neuroscience, I literally created a whole program called the Mindset Method, where I pull together all of what I learned from the study of neuroscience and packaged it in a way that it's easy for you to use in terms of daily habits, in terms of mindset hacks, in terms of using this really powerful idea of reframing things, which is grounded in neuro-linguistic programming, to help you feel less stress and more in control and more confident when you teach your classes. I did an episode for new yoga teachers. I did an episode around goals. And I think I mentioned earlier, I did an episode on yoga philosophy. This year in 2024, I had a number of amazing guests. Some of what we covered, I had Lisa Marie Rankin on 2 times. She has her own podcast and she helps yoga teachers and women in general learn from the historical figures in history, goddesses, and the wisdom we can pull from goddesses in history. I had Jennifer Regazzano on, and Jennifer is a holistic health practitioner. I had Joanna Sapir on, and Joanna's episode, we talked about entrepreneurship for health and wellness and yoga teacher practitioners. So there's a lot of business tips in that episode. I had Elizabeth Ralph on, who is a money mindset coach. And the reason I had Elizabeth on is because for so many yoga teachers that I speak to, but for limiting beliefs they have around money, they would enroll in my program and be the best version of themselves. But they say to me, I can't afford it. And I know every time I hear I can't afford it, behind that is a limiting belief. And so if you feel like you want to say yes to yourself, not even to me, and enroll in my program, but you have limiting beliefs around money, this is an episode for you to listen to. I had Nicolette Roche on. Nicolette is a holistic health practitioner, and she talked a lot about holistic health, and she specifically works with yoga teachers and trains them on how to be holistic health practitioners in addition to teaching yoga. I had Amanda Foley on, who talked about human design, which is a really interesting way to look at people and to look at ourselves. And there are several different types in human design. And when you uncover the type you are, it will unlock so many answers to some of the problems you're experiencing and help you understand yourself better, as well as create a plan to move forward. I had Trish Corley on, who, like me, is an expert in anatomy, and she talked a lot about anatomy and some of the myths that are out there that she busts through not only her own program, Yoga Anatomy School, but also in her teaching and training she does with teachers. I had Elizabeth Huntsman on, who, if you know me and Elizabeth from our initial days teaching for Baron Baptiste, you know that she and I have been teaching collectively for almost 50 years between the two of us. And we talked a lot about what's out there, what's going on in the yoga industry, and what are beliefs that we no longer believe, what are things that we're doing in both of our programs to support yoga teachers. And we talked a lot about myths and different ways to think about those things so that you can be your most confident yoga teacher. Who else? I had Amber Hagberg on. Amber lives in Costa Rica. She is a longtime international yoga teacher, and she does a lot of mindset work with yoga teachers. I had a really interesting conversation with Tracy Goodwin, who is a speech coach. And if you haven't listened to that one, definitely go back and listen to it, because so much of what your students are getting from your classes is being communicated through your voice, through the tone of your voice, through the speed of your speech, through the articulation of your vocal cords, through the tone and volume and sound of your voice. And in a lot of ways, your fears and your worries and your stress and your strain is also coming through in your voice. There are different vocal tics that people have that mask fears and worries and insecurities and limiting beliefs that they have. So it's really important that you uncover them, and listening to that episode will help. I had the two yoga teachers on from the Seasons of Sound, and they talked about sound healing. I had Monica Bright on, who is a longtime yoga teacher, and she talked about how she trains teachers and her mission and goals for working with yoga teachers. I had Kelly Smith on, who has a mindfulness and yoga program specifically focused on teaching people yoga, although she does have several training programs for teachers as well. I had my good friend Kat Fowler on, who's an energetic healer. That one is an amazing episode to listen to. I recently had Chrissy Florio on, who lives in Florida. She is a longtime yoga teacher. She is a breast cancer survivor. She has a very specific and empowering way that she teaches, and listening to that episode will definitely inspire you. I had Isabel Tu on. Isabel lives in England, and she's created these amazing breath cards, which you can buy on her website. I had Sage Roundtree on. You may recognize Sage because she's been on the cover of Yoga Journal, in Yoga Journal. She's a longtime teacher like me, and she shared a lot of the work she does with teachers and what she's uncovered. So really, listening to that episode between the two of us is a way to uncover a lot of the secrets to helping you be the most confident. And then the last guest of 2024 was 2 or 3 weeks ago when I had Helene Whitfield on. She is the Chief Visionary Officer of Goya, the Global Online Yoga Association. This is a new group, and in the past 6 months of membership, they already have thousands of members. There are so many benefits to joining Goya, and you can listen to that episode and find out what they are. So we had 54 total episodes, all those guests, all those topics. And if anything that you heard in this summary you want to listen to and you can't find the episode, just send me a DM on Instagram, and I'm happy to send you the direct link to the show. What I want to cover today are a number of lists that can motivate and inspire you. And so what this means is now's the time to take out your pen and paper, because you're definitely going to want to write this down. The first thing we're going to go over are 7 things to try in 2025. Because I know from my experience of working with teachers over the years, your confidence as a yoga teacher is not going to come from how many years you're teaching, how many hours of training you buy by enrolling in a 200-hour, 300-hour, or 500-hour program. Your confidence is going to be found in your willingness to experiment with different things in your classes so that you find what works for you. And so here are things that you can try in 2025. Number 1, teach a workshop. If you haven't yet stepped your foot in the door of teaching a workshop, this is the year. Go to the studio owner that you teach for and tell them you want to teach a workshop. Think about some topic that you'd like to share and get yourself on the schedule to teach it. Number 2, host an event. Big or small or anything in between, hosting an event is a great way to help more people, to bring in extra revenue, and to give you a way to share what you love. It could be a women's wellness group. It could be a book club. It could be a meditation group. It could be a 4-week series helping beginners. Whatever topic inspires you, host an event next year. Number 3, build a social media channel. Dedicate yourself to developing an Instagram channel, a YouTube channel, a TikTok channel. Those are really the 3 that I would focus on. Forget about LinkedIn, forget about Pinterest. Those are the 3. Pick one and dedicate yourself to building out a channel. Stop hiding. Stop saying nobody wants to hear from you. Stop saying, oh, there's too many yoga teachers. Stop saying it's too late. You go out and claim your spot out there in the internet. Number 4, do a photo shoot. hire a professional photographer, not your husband, not your boyfriend, not your friend, not your girlfriend. Hire and pay for a photo shoot. You deserve it. It is one of the most empowering things you can ever do. I did one this year, and I can tell you it was mind-blowing. I let the photographer and the makeup artist guide me through different poses, and I don't mean yoga poses. I mean like celebrity movie star poses. We had the fan going, blowing my hair. We had me on a stool. We had me standing up. Yeah, sure, we did a couple of shots that were yoga shots, but most of the shots were in street clothes, different outfits. I felt like a movie star, and I stepped into a version of myself I didn't think I had the courage to do. And stepping into it allowed me to up-level my confidence in a way I never thought possible. So book a photo shoot in 2025. Write an ebook. Take a topic you can expound upon and write an ebook. It's a lot easier than writing an actual book. And now with AI, you can simply type in the topic and ask AI to create you an outline. And there you go. You just fill it in with the actual content in the outline. It couldn't be easier to do. You can sell it on Amazon, make some extra money, get the word out, become an author, help more people, and share with them on a topic that you know and love. Number 6, start an online class platform. Keep your live classes. And in addition, start an online class platform, because what this allows you to do is start teaching people anywhere in the world right from the comfort of your own home. This is a really important business concept called scalability. Not many yoga teachers do this. They look at their yoga teaching as something that can only be done in person, onesies and twosies, but that's not the case. I would not have been able to leave my 6-figure corporate job if I was just running around teaching a bunch of classes. I knew that I needed something that would scale, and that's why I created my signature program and now my yoga teacher confidence course. I wrote 2 books. I did a number of things. Those specific things may not interest you. You have to find, or you want to find, what inspires you and what you want to do that's scalable. This idea of teaching online is a great way to start. And then the last thing is, how about you start a podcast? Not just me and not just you listening to me. How about you start a podcast? It's as easy as recording it on Zoom and hosting it on a podcast platform. So think about something you would love to talk about. Maybe it's not even related to yoga. Maybe you're a good cook. Maybe you like to travel. Maybe you like to do home crafts. Maybe you're a psychologist and you help people with their problems and you've pulled out certain themes that would benefit people to hear about. Whatever it is, start a podcast if that's something you want to do. Okay, so part 2. 3 common beliefs to release in 2025. Number 1, get your pen and paper ready. I need to practice with my class. This is a lie. This is not the truth. This is just something that yoga teachers say. You do not need to practice with your class, and if you don't believe me, go into your very next class and don't practice with them and see what happens. Nothing bad will happen. They will keep practicing. What you will probably find out is you're dependent on your practicing to teach the class. And that's a red flag that there's a problem that needs to be fixed. Unless you want to practice with your class for the rest of your life. If that's what you want, go ahead and do it. If, however, you want the ease of the walk and talk, I can show you how to do it. So if you want that, send me a DM on Instagram, say walk and talk video, and I'll send you a training video to get you started. Number 2, common beliefs to release in 2025. I need to mirror my students. You don't need to mirror your students. This is, again, just what people say you need to do. If you don't believe me, go into your class and stop mirroring them. Say, step the right foot forward, and you step your right foot forward, knowing that as they look at you, it's going to look backwards. But do it anyway. People know what their right foot is. And even though what they see is not related to what they hear, they're going to do what you say. Now, of course, if you're doing the walk and talk, that problem goes away because you're not mirroring them, because you're not practicing with them. So decide what you want to do. Number 3, under common beliefs to release in 2025, I need to change my sequence every week. No, you don't. That's just what they're telling you. That's just what you're hearing. That's just what you're seeing, which is evidence that so many yoga teachers have bought this pile of baloney. You don't need to practice to change your sequence every week. You can teach the same thing every week and get really, really good at it. And that's the only thing that's going to happen. You're going to get really, really good at it. And for anybody that comes that's bored, they can go find somebody else's class. This is about serving you. And in serving you, you're going to do a better job serving them. It does not serve your students for you to jump through 10 hoops every Sunday night to change your sequence only to go in on Monday and forget it because it's brand new, and have to practice it because it's brand new, and be super stressed out because it's brand new, and be worried that it's not good enough because it's brand new. You don't need all that. You can go in owning your role as the expert and teach a signature sequence that you love over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until the cows come home. So what's it going to be? The last section, 3 healthy habits to boost your teaching confidence. Number 1, daily visualization, closing your eyes and envisioning you teaching in the most elevated way possible. What are you doing? What are you saying? Where are you teaching? What are you wearing? How do you feel? What sequence are you doing? What cues are you using? Take the time every day to feed your mind with that positive imagery. Number 2, under 3 healthy habits to boost your teaching confidence, positive self-talk. There's way too much criticism, self-criticism that yoga teachers pile on themselves. The most frequent time they do it is right when they're done teaching their class. They drive home and they say to themselves, you didn't do this well, you didn't do that well, why didn't you do this, why didn't you do that? Instead of all of that, how about positive self-talk? How about, hey, I did an amazing job. Hey, I'm so glad I showed up for them. Hey, that was really, really fun. I can tell you in my experience, every single time I drive home from teaching my classes, I feel 100% completely connected to the universe and feel like I am doing exactly what I was born to do. I feel so much joy, so much ease, so much happiness, and like I've done really good work. And that's the experience I want for you. And the last one, under 3 healthy habits to boost your teaching confidence, replace asking students for feedback and instead ask yourself how you feel after teaching each class. Because you see, when you ask people for their feedback, all you're going to get is their opinion. And their opinion doesn't matter. It's just their opinion. Everybody has an opinion. Instead, ask yourself, how did I feel when I taught that class? And then listen for the answer. Because if you ask it in a question format, how did I feel after teaching that class? Your brain is going to give you an answer. And then when it gives you an answer that's negative, like, I didn't feel really good, ask the follow-up. What didn't work out for you? And then listen. Listen for the answer. You know why it didn't feel good. So listen for the answer. And in the answer is what you want to fix. So let's say you get in your car and you drive home and you ask yourself, how do I feel after teaching that class? And let's say the first reaction is, I don't feel really good. I don't really feel confident. Why don't I feel confident? I don't feel confident because I went in there, I wanted to do the walk and talk, and instead I ended up practicing 75% of the class with them. Okay, so why did you do that? I did that because I was afraid I was going to lose my place in the sequence. And every time I felt that fear rise up, I hopped back on my yoga mat to remember where I was in the sequence. So there it is. Stop changing your sequence. There's the answer. You could literally self-coach yourself to more elevated teaching. It's just really challenging to do this kind of work on your own. However, start doing this work by, instead of asking them for feedback, asking yourself, how do I feel? Okay, so that ends the portion of this episode where I go through the lists. That gives you the output that I promised you at the beginning of this episode. Walking away with empowering things to try in 2025. So I can check that box. I've met that goal. Couple of things to think about before we wrap up. I have a really good PDF guide called 11 Things You Can Be Doing Right Now as a Yoga Teacher. The only way to get it is for you to send me a DM on Instagram. You can just send me a DM and say, I want the 11 Things guide, and I'll send it to you. I don't want to go into why I can't just put a link. It's a long story. If you want that, it's really good. Send me a DM. And then the last thing I'll say is I'm recording this in December. I don't know when you're listening to it. If you're listening to it in December, up until the end of December, you can enroll in the Yoga Teacher Confidence Club and get immediate access to a private video portal with lessons on cueing, sequencing, and mindset, as well as anatomy, as well as invitations to live workshops and Q&A sessions for just $27 a month. And when you sign up in December, you get the best rate. You get the founding members rate, as well as for free, my Mindset Method program, which I talked about earlier, which normally retails for $444. If you're listening to this after December, the price will be higher. I haven't decided what I'm going to bump up the price to. It's actually worth hundreds of dollars a month. I wanted to make it really affordable for you. So it will be more than $27. It will still be affordable. So you won't get the bonus. You will still get a great price. It just won't be 27 bucks. In either case, to sign up for the Yoga Teacher Confidence Club, all you need to do is go to the link in my bio on Instagram, click it, and you'll see the invitation to join the club. You can also go to my website, barebonesyoga.com. The link to the club will also be in the show notes for this episode. Thank you so much for being a listener. Thank you so much for being with me this year. If you're new to the podcast, thank you for being here for this episode. I hope that we continue to grow, both of us as a yoga teacher. I hope that we continue to share this amazing practice with so many people, living at cause, being at cause, helping people access this amazing, amazing practice. I wish you nothing but love and good fortune and good health and financial success and business success and family success in the year of 2025, which is just upon us now. We're on the precipice of that. And I thank you so much for listening this year in 2024. Thank you so much. And I'll talk to you in the next episode of Conversations for Yoga Teachers. Namaste.